Oh, dang. It is hot as hell. I'm sweating like a pig. Well, I just finished my photo shoot. It's exhausting. It took me 3-4 hours. And I don't know if the microphone can pick this thing up, but the thunder. Oh, my sweat is dripping on my eyebrows. Oh. Remember the last few videos, I've mentioned that shipping your Beetles in summer is not an ideal time. This is exactly why. It's killing me, the heat and the humidity. And it's getting darker and darker. I need to change a place to continue speaking. Well, recently I've just figured out another possible reason that why Beetles are not that popular. If you invest same amount of time, let's say if you have kept both a snake and a larva for 2 years, 24 months, if you feed your snake properly, you're on a regular food plan, you're pretty certain to get a healthy, beefy animal after 2 years. But things are a little bit different with Beetles, is that they have a larva stage and they turn to pupa and then adult. A lot of things could have happened within those 3 stages. Something tricky about Beetle is that even your line breeding for body length, it is a polygenic trait, right? So that it is not as easy to control like recessive genetics, like what? Like albinos. I mean, even if you are breeding for recessive genes, you can do the math. If you do your math properly, you will get the result that you wanted to. But it is a little bit different with Beetles, is that it is a polygenic trait, so that it is almost impossible for you to do the math, do the calculation, and still expect to get that tag shot result. And plus, even with proper gene, I mean with good genes, the genes that you wanted to, you still need food that would convert those potential into reality. So that's one thing that is pretty tricky, because you can purchase those high-end lineage from those breeder, but if you don't have those environment, you don't have those substrate, or you don't have proper food for your larva, those genetics, they wouldn't be slightly similar to their parents. I mean, if you don't get them to digest your food, if they don't fit your food plan, those genetics, they're just like garbage. They're wasted. And no matter what kind of genes is in that animal, it's irrelevant. I mean, there's no use of it, because you cannot convert those genes into the real body length differences. So that is a total waste. I mean, and I get it. It is a pretty unpredictable, sort of like taking a bet. So I guess that's one of the reasons why the Beetles are not as popular as reptiles, because people like to have that sense of control to future. So that kind of insecurity of Beetles, I guess that is probably one of the reason, probably the majority of the reason that why Beetles are not that popular. Because just think about this. A new hobbyist just got into beetle keeping. He's interested in beetles. He spent, let's say, just 100 US dollars on a pair of beetles, and he's happy. He made those pair of beetles breed to each other, and guess what? 2 years later, he came up with literally nothing because he didn't give them proper food, proper environment. So those offspring that he has is just worthless on market. And think about how frustrating what that will be for a new hobbyist. I mean, he spent hundreds of dollars on it, and is getting nothing. I mean, I'm not saying that you're profiting from your hobby, but at least you wanted to balance your cash flow right. That's one of the biggest letdown, I would say, on Beetles, is that you're just unable to predict it. It is so unpredictable at some degree, so that, yeah, sometimes it is just a pain in the ass to work with. What a lovely afternoon. I mean, just look at those scenery. So sad that I have to return this camera. God, I love the flip-up screen. I mean, when I'm using my 6300, but with 6400, gosh, the flippy screen, the flip-up screen, and the touch screen is just amazing. All right, let's go return this camera.